Hello, everyone. Well, I came across a Facebook post today that made me just kind of go, "Oh my, really, really? That's what we're going with this? Okay, fine." So I'm going to show you the Facebook post. I'm going to show you the tweets that are the same as the Facebook post, and I'm going to prove to you. Well, I'm going to show you that this spin is just. Does it work with anybody? Does anybody believe these people anymore? Like, this is nuts. So, okay, this is Andrew Scheer. This is him at the 2018 convention, and I just want to set this up because, well, this is important just to notice before showing you his statement today on the Nafta negotiations, because I think it sets up the kind of person that he is.
True. The President of the United States is anti-free trade, and Donald Trump has been crystal clear all along that he's out to cause us pain and to steal our jobs.
Okay, so we'll just leave that there. Well, Mr. Trump, he's about to be asked what his position on free trade is. This is post G7.
To a lot of computers that they were going to make any concessions to you, and I believe that you raised the idea of a tariff-free G7. Is that?
I did. Oh, I did. That's the way it should be. No tariffs, no barriers. That's the way it should be. And no subsidies. I even said no tariffs. In other words, let's say Canada, where we have tremendous tariffs. The United States pays tremendous tariffs on dairy, as an example, 270%. Nobody knows that. We pay nothing. We don't want to pay anything. Why should we pay? We have to, ultimately, that's what you want. You want a tariff-free, you want no barriers, and you want no subsidies, because you have some cases where countries are subsidizing industries, and that's not fair. So you go tariff-free, you go barrier-free, you go subsidy-free. That's the way you learned at the Wharton School of Finance. I mean, that would be the ultimate thing. Now, whether or not that works, but I did suggest it, and people were, I guess they're going to go back to the drawing board and check it out, right? But we can't have...
Okay, I'm going to stop him there. He's very clear. Barrier-free, tariff-free, no taxes, tariffs or taxes, barrier-free, no non-monetary barriers. So, well, I mean, you know, and I'm sure that can be negotiated, but I mean, not now. Could have been negotiated, I'm sure. Could have been. Maybe if we were dealing with them correctly. Okay, so Scheer says Trump is anti-free trade. Trump says Trump is 100% free trade. Trump signs a free trade deal with the EU. I did a video about it yesterday. Trump signs a free trade deal with Mexico. Is he lying? Is he offering free trade deals to everybody but Canada? No. So why don't we have a free trade deal? Okay, so here we are. This is the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada. And this is his statement today, 3 hours ago, on NAFTA negotiations. Quote, "At this critical time in the NAFTA negotiations, it has become clear that Mexico and the U.S. have come to major agreements while Canada was not even at the table. It is unacceptable that Canada has been presented with a take-it-or-leave-it deal on major aspects of this deal." Yeah, he used deal twice. I thought that was me, but it's not me. Okay. Canadians I've spoken to are frustrated that Mexico and the U.S. struck this deal behind Trudeau's back. Is he your buddy? Did he cry? Okay. They wanted to know why Canada is on the outside looking in, while major sectors of the economy and millions of jobs hang in the balance. As always, Conservatives are ready and willing to assist the government. Over 1 in 5 jobs depend on trade with the U.S., and Conservative MPs will do everything we can to ensure that our trading relationship with our NAFTA partners is protected. Who wrote this? If that's you, Mr. Scheer, put it through spell check, man. Seriously. But aside from that, this is not accurate at all. Here's a news article right after the G7. We had we had an unsigned G7 statement that protected our dairy protections. We had the 270, or we had the dairy tariffs included in whatever this was on June 10th, and then Trudeau had his big press conference where he was a big tough guy for the press, and things went sideways. So not only did we have an unsigned communique that people were happy with, more than happy with, people were over the moon excited with. Listen, this is the June 10th of the National.
Has been working the phones today, and Rob, what have you heard from Canadian officials?
Well, let me take you back, first of all, to 5 p.m. on Friday in Charlevoix, okay? There's a bilateral meeting at the end of the first day of the G7 summit between President Trump and Prime Minister Trudeau, and it's going so well People are very excited. The Prime Minister's key advisors are there. Larry Kudlow is there. They're talking trade. Steve Mnuchin has been working the phones. He's not there, working the phones with Finance Minister Bill Morneau. How well is it going? Trump has been asking for a sunset clause. At one point, he waved away the notion of a sunset clause, surprising his own chief negotiator, according to people who were there. And people think it's great. Next thing they hear at the end of this.
So, and then, of course, the next thing they hear is the tweet. But it's not like we were frozen out. That's not accurate, Mr. Scheer. Like, Canada fumbled and then fumbled again and again and again. And you can check out my videos. There's a couple of them. I mean, yesterday, Miss Freeland was not on time for the appointment, apparently. And they've shown up with ridiculous demands for a trade negotiation. So even back in 2017, the CBC was reporting, yeah, U.S. is probably not going to deal well with that gender chapter you guys want to try and push through. So that's September. Even in November, Trudeau wants to include a gender chapter in the new Nafta. So these people are purposely pushing things that they know Mr. Trump will say no to. And Mr. Trump is very, very clear about how this is going to go. He wants free trade and he's willing to negotiate. He clearly negotiated with the EU for auto parts that are going to be protected. I'm sure there's going to be, when the details for the Mexican-US deal come out, there's going to be some concessions that were made because Trump knows how to make a deal. But Trump is not going to deal with people who are treating him the way Canada is treating him. So I'm going to let Trump finish out here because, okay, so this is with regards to him being out to get Canada and Canadians and after our jobs, etc. This is him talking at the end of the G7. And he specifically says here, I don't blame the leaders for the deals they made. He talks about how bad NAFTA is for the U.S. And he's right. I mean, it's a wealth transfer, just like the TPP would be bad for Canada. It's a wealth transfer. And so he talks about how hurt the farmers are and how... but he doesn't blame the other countries' leaders for this. But the man is a deal maker and a businessman. And if you come to a businessman and say, we want to add these flowery words, they're going to have their lawyer look at it, and the lawyer's going to say no. And they're going to say, you want to do business, or do you want to have these flowery words that have nothing to do with anything we're trying to get done? And apparently Trudeau's choice is, yeah, we're dealing with gender, and we're dealing with, I have no idea, but not in good faith. But anyway, Mr. Trump, here you go.
But we can coordinate together and achieve a common good, a good for all of our people, all of our nations. We're linked in the great effort to create a more just, peaceful, and prosperous world. And from the standpoint of trade and jobs and being fair to companies, we are really, I think, committed. I think they are starting to be committed to a much more fair trade situation for the United States because it has been treated very, very unfairly. And I don't blame other leaders for that. I blame our past leaders. There was no reason that this should have happened. Last year, they lost 800, we as a nation, over the years, but the latest number is $817 billion on trade. That's ridiculous, and it's unacceptable, and everybody was told that. So I don't blame them. I blame our leaders. In fact, I congratulate the leaders of other countries for so crazily being able to make these trade deals that were so good for their country and so bad for the United States. But those days are over. In just a few minutes, I'll be...
Okay, and he takes questions. Okay, one, the leader of the country is supposed to be the biggest cheerleader for that country, and if you are IBM's CEO and you pick up the phone and call all of your lieutenants in and say, what about Apple? Guys, what about Apple? We haven't thought about Apple. That doesn't happen, right? Canada should be worrying about Canada. We have issues that clearly need to be dealt with. People are angry. I am angry. And the way our government is behaving is like everybody's singing Kumbaya and things are great. Things are not great. So lying about Mr. Trump's position doesn't help your case, Andrew. Like, lying about Trump's position and pretending that you and Trudeau are united against this mean bully Trump. Listen to the man speak. Like, do you think that your double talk, sir, your lies and your double talk and your ridiculous Facebook post here do not make me think that you have Canada's best interests at heart. You want to go into this trade war as well. You'd be quite happy to continue this trade war. And I don't understand why. You have not explained why. I think the reason that you think that you're getting away with this is because, quote unquote, people don't like Trump. But you know what, sir? People can read, people understand math, and people understand the economy. And Trump can wipe 20% of ours out with the stroke of a pen. And were he someone else, he may have already. So he's been very clear about liking Canada and wanting a fair deal. We are not offering him a fair deal. This is the biggest hammer Trump has. And I mean, if it were me, I think I would close the border on a Friday at 5:30 and open it on Monday morning at 4 and call Justin and say, "Are you ready now?" So I don't know. But here's the biggest hammer Trump has, and he's willing to use it. I don't think he's been bluffing at all. I think he's been really, really straightforward with anybody who will listen to him. Listen to him.
Barrier, non-monetary barrier, or whether it's through very high tariffs that make it impossible. And this is all over the world. This isn't just G7. I mean, we have India where some of the tariffs are 100%. 100%. And we charge nothing. You can't do that. And so we are talking to many countries. We're talking to all countries. And it's going to stop. Or we'll stop trading with them. And that's a very, very profitable answer if we have to do it. Yes, sir.
That's a very profitable answer if we have to do it. And I mean, okay, he doesn't want to do that. That's like changing your cable, right? Like it's kind of a pain in the ass. You got to call the technician. You got to get everything started up again. I got to start paying. Oh, you need my credit card number, right? It's a pain in the ass. It'd be nice and easy if things could just keep running the way they were running. And that was what Trump was trying to do at the end of the G7. Keep things running, happy, the whole deal. And Trudeau's coming in with, no, Mr. Trump, you're not, our milk and our dairy and our genders, you know, we need to keep that because that's ridiculous. So Mr. Scheer, please offer us an alternative. If you are agreeing with Mr. Trudeau, cross the floor, sir. I'm sure that they'll have a leadership. I'm sure that there will be somebody willing to take your place as leader of the party. I've got an idea of one or two people who might be willing to fill the job. MaximeBernier.com